Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Start on Campus online event. We're very excited to be having you join us this year. Even though it looks a little bit different, we're going to try and make the best of it for you all. We're definitely a little new at these Teams live events, so your patience is appreciated. We're just going to try and do our best here. Okay, so we're going to go through a little bit of information on course enrollment. My name's Catherine, and I've got my colleague joining me, Kim. You'll get to see her a little bit later on. We also have a third program counselor. His name is Andrew. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us today, but you'll get many opportunities to meet him in the future. So we're going to do a quick little 10-minute overview on the course selection, important things that you need to know as first-year students, and then we're going to open it up for a question period, because I'm sure there's lots of questions that everybody has. If you need to talk to us more after today, you can just email us at EngCounts. That email is provided in the last slide, and we can email out this presentation to anybody that needs it. Okay, so what courses do you select? First-year students all have a very similar roster. Everyone's going to choose Chem 1040, Eng 1100, Math 1200, and Physics 1130. Where it gets different is with this fifth course. So if you're in biological, biomedical, environmental, or water resources, you're going to choose ENGG 1500. If you're in computer engineering or systems and computing, you're going to choose CIS 1300. And if you're in mechanical, you're going to choose CIS 1500. So the difference between CIS 1300 and CIS 1500, 1300 is more geared to computer engineering students. It's a bit of a higher level, a bit more advanced. It deals with the C language, whereas CIS 1500 deals with Python. So if you're in undeclared engineering and you think that you're leaning a little bit more towards computer engineering or ES&C, select CIS 1300. It's the prerequisite to the future computer courses, so you're going to want that one over CIS 1500. Any of the other streams, pick CIS 1500. So I'm going to take you guys to the registration guide. There's lots of good information there. Let me load that up. Okay. All right, so looking through this web page, some of you may have already seen this, but there's just so much important information, so this is really just for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. You'll notice at the top, in this black bar here, there says Web Advisor tutorial. So that's going to be a little tutorial on how Web Advisor works, how you can select your courses. So definitely check that out before you try to get on Web Advisor and start selecting them. If you're finding that your course sections that you want are full, just pick a different one as a placeholder, and then you can keep checking back each day to see if any spaces do open up in your preferred section. That way, if nothing does open up, you have a backup, and if it does open up, then you can just drop the one that you chose as a second choice and replace it with the original one that you wanted. The first year course selection window is from July 23rd to September 18th, so there's lots of time to get your courses. Again, if you find that sections are full, don't stress about it. We tend to see a lot of movement over over that course selection window. So just keep checking back, be patient. If you're a transfer student, you may have received some transfer credits, in which case you could possibly select sooner. So you can check the number of credits that you get and check the course selection windows. You may also be restricted from some first-year courses. We'll get more into that in a couple of slides. So if you go down to the program information, so you go find your program right here. Program information page. This is going to pull up all of the different majors, so scroll down to engineering. This again talks to the courses that you're going to be selecting for your first semester. couple of advising tips. Under course selection tips, it takes you to our first year engineering site where there's lots of good information there. So lots of links in this first paragraph here. Check those out. They're very informative. Again, speaking to the courses that you're going to be taking in first semester. This one's quite good, understanding course codes. So the first 4 letters are going to be the department. Next 4 numbers are going to be the course number. And then the next 4 numbers are your section number. And then there's just a bit more information there, types of computers, orientation events. So feel free to check all of that out. I know it looks like a lot, but it may answer some of the questions that you're having. Just go back to the PowerPoint now. We'll load that up. Okay, and I think now Kim is going to speak to the first year timetables for you. Oh, Kim, I think you're muted. Wait.
So I hate to do this, but I just noticed on our attendees that we just jumped from 3 to 35 and we are on, we've moved ahead into a number of slides. And I don't know, Katie, what do you want to do? Would you like to start again? We did start at 2:20, so it looks like maybe your last event might have, oh, we're up to 42 now. What do you think, Katie? What should we do? Should we go back and start over?
Yep, that sounds good.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that, Katie. I think that's probably maybe the right thing to do. Let's,
no problem.
Well, let's go back up. Just bear with us, everyone, and we're gonna start at the beginning again, okay? Because I think there was a lot of really good information that some people may have missed. So, Katie, how would you like to re-queue?
Yep.
Because the content is there, and I think you can go ahead.
Okay. Hey again. All right. My name's Catherine. I'm one of your program counselors for the engineering program. You just saw my colleague Kim, and we've got a third program counselor. His name is Andrew. He couldn't be with us today, but there'll be lots of opportunities for you to meet and speak with him in the future. So today we're just going to give a quick little 10-minute overview of the course selection information that we find is important, and then we'll open it up for a question and answer period. And also, if anyone wants this presentation, we can send it out at the end. That's no problem. So what courses do you select? So across all engineering disciplines, there is a very common first year. Everyone will pick the same first 4 courses: Chemistry 1040, ENGG 1100, Math 1200, and Physics 1130. The 5th course is going to vary depending on which discipline you're in. So if you're in biological, biomedical, environmental, or water resources, you will pick ENGG 1500 as your 5th course. If you're in computer engineering, systems and computing, then you're going to pick CIS 1300. And if you're in mechanical, you're going to choose CIS 1500. So the differences between CIS 1300 and CIS 1500. CIS 1300 is the prerequisite to future computer courses. So if you're thinking of going into computer engineering or systems and computing, then definitely choose CIS 1300. If you are going to go into any of the other streams and you're undeclared, then you can choose CIS 1500. Okay, so I'm going to take you to the registration guide. Let me just load that up. There we go. Okay, so this is the registration guide. You'll notice that in the top black bar there, there's a web advisor tutorial. That's going to be really useful for when you are going to select your courses, for learning how to work the program. So definitely give that a check out before you try and start selecting them. If you discover that the sections that you're looking for are full, just pick a second choice that fits with your schedule and sign up for that one. And then you can keep checking each day to see if any space is opened up in the original one that you want. That way you've got your bases covered just in case spots don't open up in that one. You do have another one that fits your schedule. The course selection for first years, the course selection window is July 23rd to September 18th. If you're a transfer student and receive transfer credits, you may be able to select sooner depending on how many credits you received. If you have more than 5.25 credits, you might be restricted from some first year courses. We're going to speak a little bit more about that in a couple of slides. So if we scroll down to find your program, click on that program information page. This is going to list all the different majors, so just scroll down to engineering. Again, it's going to speak about your first year courses, some advising notes, and in there is a link to the first year engineering site. So again, it speaks about the first semester courses. It explains course codes to you. What happens if you didn't take grade 12 physics or chemistry, what kind of computers you should be getting or could be getting for school, some orientation events, and then if you ever need any help, that book an appointment link right there will take you to our online booking system where you can book with any one of us. And once you click on those, it'll pull up our schedule and show you our availability. So it's a really great system. Right now, due to the current situation in the world, we are just hosting them over Microsoft Teams, which everybody must have if you're at this event. It's been going really well, so feel free to book a meeting with us that way. So now we're going to go back to where we almost got to last time. So Kim can talk a little bit about the first year timetables.
Okay. There we go, content and, okay, hi everybody, my name is Kim. I am Catherine's colleague, and I'm going to move along and show you a little bit about what the timetable actually looks like. So as Catherine had gone through, she showed you that different majors take different, that fifth course is different, but the first four are all the same. And so there's just a few things I want to point out to everybody as we go through this. So the slide that I'm showing you right now is for 4 of our majors, biological, biomedical, environmental, and water resources engineering. And I'm going to see if I can get my PowerPoint laser pointer going here. So the first thing I want you to see is that the chemistry lecture, there is one chemistry lecture, and it is called remote, which means there's no scheduled time for it. You will be following the lecture material at your own pace, but at an expected schedule, but on your own. So you don't have to tune in at any given time. All your other lectures are going to be live streamed at a specific time during the day, and that's where you see all these others. So there's 2 physics lectures. There's a math lecture that goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The physics lectures go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but you're only going to be choosing one of the physics. The environmental, biological, environmental, and water students are all going to choose engineering 1500. And then, of course, there's engineering 1100, which is engineering and design 1. I want to bring everyone's attention to the chemistry labs that are at the same time as the math lecture. So everybody here must choose Math 1200, which means the chemistry labs that are at the same time aren't available to you. However, the afternoon ones are. So you'll see there's a number of different sections, and each section, you only have to choose one section. So if you if you choose section 0111, you will be attending chemistry lecture online on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So all of these are happening at the same time, all of these labs. So you must choose one of those sections. There is only one math lab. It happens on Friday. There is only one physics lab. So it doesn't matter which lecture of physics you're in, you will be taking this physics lab. But when you go on WebAdvisor, you're going to see that there's two sections, 0101, 0201. And that just means that the 01 lab is attached to the 01 lecture and attached to the 02 lecture. So that's how you can sort of understand it. When you get onto WebAdvisor, you're going to see that there's a number of different sections for different courses. The last thing I want to bring your attention to for this particular group of students is that these students are going to be taking Engineering 1500. Engineering 1100, which everyone takes, has a 4-hour lab, but it's split into 2-hour segments. So you'll see Lab 0101 takes place on Tuesday morning and Thursday morning. So you will be attending both of those. The same with 0102, and then 3 and 4 are Wednesday and Friday. So if you choose the section 3 or 4, then obviously you can't choose the labs for 1500 that are 0101 or 0102. But you can choose a 103 or a 104. So these are placed in the schedule deliberately so that it's evenly split. I'm going to move on now to computer engineering systems and computing, and the undeclared entry students. So you see everything is pretty much the same, but what's not here is engineering 1500. And in its place is CIS 1300. So the other thing you see here are there's some more grayed out boxes here. These are all CIS 1300 labs that don't work for this group of students. However, these labs have a lot of capacity in them, and you'll see there's plenty others available throughout the timetable. So you'll be able to select one of those. This one here is currently pending. So even although it exists, it may or may not open. I suspect it probably will. So you can keep your eye out for that one as course selection continues. And the last group, mechanical engineering, and again, undeclared entry. The difference here is 1500 is not here, and or engineering 1500 is not here, CIS 1300 is not here, but what is here is CIS 1500. And you can see where the labs exist for that, and you can also see that there are a couple that don't work in this particular group, so here and here, but there are lots of other opportunities to select labs for this course. So I'm going to, Katie, if you want to queue yourself up, we're going to move on to a couple more slides and then questions, and we'll be available for questions beyond 3 o'clock.
Okay.
There you go.
So back to those restrictions that I was speaking about a little bit earlier. The only 2 courses that are restricted for first years is Math 1200 and Physics 1130. This is just to ensure that the students that need to get in that course can get into the course, because some other students from different programs like to take them as electives. So that's why anyone who has more than 5.25 or 5.75 credits might not be able to get into those courses. If that's the case, just give us an email and we can help you get registered for that. What do we got on the next slide there, Kim? Oh, there we go. Okay, so in summary, the best way to go about course selection is to select one at a time. It can be very overwhelming to select them all and then get course conflicts and you don't know where to start taking it apart. So select your ENGG 1100 first, choose one of the sections, then choose your Chem 1040. Again, choose one of the sections, Physics 1130, and then your Math 1200. Then for your final selection, choose the CIS 1300, 1500, or ENGG 1500. And then hopefully you've got a timetable that doesn't create a conflict. If you're having troubles with this, feel free to reach out to us. We can give you a hand. It's not always easy, especially once spaces kind of start getting filled up. So we're more than happy to help you out with that. There's our email at the bottom of that slide, engcouns@uoguelph.ca. All three of us look after that email, so the response time is usually pretty quick. Lately, we've been getting mountains of emails, so just be patient with the responses. We will get to you. Feel free to book an appointment. That gives you a half-hour time slot with us to ask us any questions you might have. And in the meantime, you can answer or ask us your questions in the chat there. So we'll stay with you to answer those.
So just to, if you're not familiar, there's a question, I think at the top right hand of your screen, you'll see a little two sort of text bubbles, and there's a question mark in there. So if anybody has any questions, you can type them in there, and we will either answer them, we can publish them and answer, if it's a question that anybody would like to know, we can publish them and answer it for everybody, or we can reply privately, or we might be able to just answer it here through the chat, through Mike. Okay, so there's the first question here, and you know what, I think I'll just answer them as I see them, and maybe Katie can publish and put answers in for everybody to see.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay. And so the CIS 1500 has capacity of 1 is already filled up. So what's happening there is that the department is deliberately keeping the caps down because they probably don't have a first year restriction on that course. And so what they're doing is just keeping them down deliberately until they're ready for the group of people who actually need it. And then they'll open up the caps. So they'll add lots of space to that course. It's going to be probably pretty large, and so don't worry about when you see really low numbers like that right now. What the department's doing is preserving space for you. Here's a question, does this mean you only take 5 courses? Yes. So the first semester of engineering is only 5 courses. That's done deliberately so that everybody has a chance to get used to university learning. Without too much course load. As you start, I think the second semester is the same. It's 5 courses. When you get into second year, so semester 3 next fall, you will begin taking 6 courses a semester in engineering, and that will continue right through to graduation. So there's a question here, my AP result for math is due tomorrow. If I get a good score, do I have to choose math in first year? So it depends on whether or not you actually get a credit for math 1200. So send your transcript in, and the registrar's office or the admissions office will determine that. What are electives? So electives are courses that are not required in your program, but they're courses of interest. Now in engineering, we have what you call restricted electives. So it's a whole group of courses that are on a specific list, and you must choose from the list. So in some other programs, they have free electives. You can choose whatever you want. Sometimes there's restrictions on it that it must be a second-year level or a third-year level or something like that. But in engineering, we have restricted electives, which means you must choose from the list. And those lists of electives are actually available on the School of Engineering website in the program guides. So if you follow the links that Catherine was showing you earlier, you will find the program guides, and they're linked directly in the Start Online or the Registration Handbook engineering page. Oh, there's a very good question. How collaborative is the engineering design course going to be if it is all online? So my understanding of what's happening with that course is that the instructors are going to use some of the scheduled time slots for Teams rooms, kind of like what we're doing right now. And the design groups are going to be grouped into rooms. And so you'll be able to collaborate through Teams. Many of the courses that you're going to be taking this fall are going to be using formats similar to what you're seeing right now. You may actually, once you're in a room, what you have access to is probably going to be more than what you're seeing right now. Right now, you're joining us as a participant, and so you're probably pretty limited in what you can do in terms of features. But once you're in a room as a collaborator, things will probably be quite a bit different. You'll get to see everybody. You can talk. You can share ideas, and so it's going to be really interesting how this happens this year. I think we have two excellent instructors who are quite creative, and I think it's going to be exciting. Is it possible to register before the 23rd? Unfortunately not. Windows are pretty locked into well, they're absolutely locked into the credit levels. It can't be changed. But rest assured, we are going to help everybody who needs help. You know, when things get going on the 23rd, it'll probably feel like a bit of a flurry, but that's okay. As we get closer to September, everyone's always in that rush right at the beginning of the course selection. Now I got to get this and I got to get this. And then as you get closer to September, things start to move around a little bit and you see things loosening up a little bit. People are changing their mind. They're feeling relaxed because they got what they needed. Now they want to start shuffling. And so that's going to start happening, and we're here to help if you need help. Okay, I'm just going to see what else is here. Okay, there's a physics question here, and I think maybe Katie, could you answer the physics question?
Sorry, I'm just trying to find it there.
I think it's closer to the top. It's from Anonymous. Question about physics. Let's see. I think it's third from the top.
Oh, okay. I have a question related to course.
Okay, so someone's asking if it's possible to still take 5 courses per semester in our future years. Yes, that could delay your graduation. That'd be the only thing. I would recommend you sit down with a program counselor to work out a sequence of courses, because sometimes there's little hidden unknowns that you might not be aware of, that we are aware of, that we can point out to you as we're making that schedule. And that's always fluid too. Nothing's ever really carved in stone. Students progress by passing courses, not by passing semesters. So sometimes things can get kind of mixed up from one semester to another, but we do what we can to try to streamline it as much as possible for you. So we're here to help with that. Is it possible to swap Engineering 1100 to the winter term and take CIS for the fall? Unfortunately, no. Engineering 1100 is only offered in the fall term. It's the only time you can get it. So CIS 1500 is available fall and winter, but Engineering 1100 is just once per year. So someone's just wants to clarify that first-year students do not need to come to campus, and that is true. There are no face-to-face opportunities, I guess, for first-year students this particular semester coming. We do have some pretty lab-heavy courses later on in our program in 3rd and 4th year, where we are offering some face-to-face activity, but even that is limited this fall. And that really has to do with space constraints and the physical distancing requirements that are currently in place by the province. How do you know if you have transfer credits? So they will be posted on your record in WebAdvisor. So when you log into WebAdvisor, there's a section of academic tabs, and you will be able to see them there. And I do believe that once they are granted and posted, you will also receive an email from admissions letting you know. And if not, if you're a transfer student, you will get an email from the School of Engineering letting you know to check your transfer credits, to check your record for transfer credits. If you are entering as a high school student and you're concerned about AP credits or International Baccalaureate, you will receive an email from the admissions office letting you know. And then what I would recommend then is contacting a program counselor to find out how it applies to your program. For first year students, can we only take electives second semester since only take 5 in the first semester? So second semester is also 5 courses. There's nothing to stop you from adding a 6th course. We just don't recommend it right away. The schedule of studies is set up that if you follow it, that you will be able to graduate in 4 years. We don't see a benefit to overloading yourself initially. The only program that does actually have an elective slot in second semester, so in the winter coming, is the mechanical program. We do have what we call complementary studies electives. Each program has to take 3 or 4 depending on the program you're in. And those courses tend to be ones that you can access without too many prerequisites. The engineering electives that you'll be taking later on typically have first and second year engineering courses as prerequisites, so you generally have to wait a little longer before you can start taking those. Okay, so recommended computer specifications to run the programs. So there's going to be more information coming out about that. There is some information on our website. Katie had taken you through the different links, the navigation links to our first year page on the School of Engineering website, and it showed a little bit there about what computer requirements you can expect. You know, if you were going to buy your own computer, what requirements you should be thinking about. I think for first year, what's on our website is probably enough, but I suspect there's going to be some more information coming about that. I would like you to email us that question maybe, and we can ask our IT manager if he has any additional requirements for this fall, just because we are doing everything online for first year anyway. So, so if you don't have prereqs, so this question here asking if we don't have prerequisite for an elective, can we still take them? In engineering, I'm going to say generally no. The answer is generally no, because the engineering courses really do rely on some mastery of the prerequisite courses. If you're taking a complementary studies elective from another department, there are many courses on campus where the instructors are okay with students registering for the courses without the prerequisites. That requires getting what we call a waiver form signed. The instructor would have to sign it, and you would have to take it to enrollment services to have your course at it. Now I say take it to enrollment services because I'm still, you know, living in, you know, the physical world. You can email it to enrollment services, and they will process it for you. And the forms are available on the registrar's website. So if you ever need a waiver form, you're not sure where to get it, you can certainly email us and we'll direct you there. Okay, so if a course is restricted, when will we be able to register? So my understanding is that in the morning of August 4th, WebAdvisor is going to be closed for registration just for the morning. So from 8 in the morning until 12 noon. It will be closed, and during that time, restrictions on many courses are going to be removed at that time. And so then when WebAdvisor reopens, those courses that were restricted should be accessible at that point in time. That is published on the Windows page, so the selection Windows page of the registrar's office, or enrollment services. If you go into Web Advisor and you find the selection windows page, you'll find that information there. Okay. In Web Advisor, how do I do step-by-step choosing? Because after I try to pre-register a course, nothing happens. Well, if your window isn't open yet, you're not going to be able to register right now. All you can do is pre-select. And so you have to actually wait for your window to open before you can register for the courses. Now, something I want, little tip for everybody here. When you're in Web Advisor and you're in the, I think it's called the Select Ad page. When you scroll to the bottom, there's this funny little note. There's a box. There's this funny little note that says, "All don't register if one doesn't," or something like that. It's what that means. It's very cryptic sounding, but what it means is that if you've trying to add 4 courses all at once, and one of them has a section that the section that you're trying to add is fills before you submit, then nothing registers. The other 3 don't register. Nothing registers. But there's a little drop-down arrow there, and there's a blank option. It's just blank. It says nothing. If you select the blank, it will register the other 3 courses if the 4th one is full. So it's a funny little quirk of the system. Give it a try. It's part of the reason why we suggest adding 1 course at a time. You can just choose to register 1 course at a time, and then that way you're building your schedule. Each time you add a course, you can look at the grid and you can see how things are starting to evolve and develop, and then you can make decisions about the next thing that you're going to select. There's another physics question there. Catherine, if you wouldn't mind taking a look at it.
Yep, no problem.
Okay. So how do you use the worksheet provided on the registration website? I don't quite know. I think it might be a PDF file. I'm trying to remember what was there. You might just have to print it and scribble on it. I think that's what the intent is. So if you have a printer at home and you want to print it off, you want to just add your courses in where they would slot in, and just as a visual, because it is understood that when you're just looking at start and stop times on sections, you can't really visualize what that's going to look like, which is the reason why I tried to provide you with the grids earlier in the presentation. And as Catherine said, we can provide the presentation we had in PDF form if anybody wants to email us, and we'll probably post it on the first year site for anybody who would like to download it and have it available. I have to be honest, I haven't clicked on the worksheet in a while. I do think it's just a PDF file that you need to print. I think I just answered the next question. Where do I get the information? PowerPoint slide after this. Email us, we'll send it to you, and hopefully within the next day or 2 we'll have it posted on our website. Will having a lab for a course before the lecture have an effect on what I need to know for the lab? I'm going to say no, because normally what happens, so lectures begin on the Thursday. Now I realize Engineering 1100 begins, that's probably the only course where the first lecture happens after 2 of the labs. I believe you'll get whatever information you need in the labs. There might even be an announcement on CourseLink. So for everyone here, CourseLink is going to be the place where you access your course outline and any announcements about your course, where you're going to be submitting assignments, potentially taking quizzes, that type of thing. It's all going to happen on CourseLink. You don't have access to CourseLink right now. Once you register for courses, And the first day of class, course link becomes available to everybody. And then you can go in and you can see everything on the first day of class. So you know your schedule. I know it sounds a little bizarre because normally we have students, you know, you just go to your first class, which is usually a physical classroom. Not really sure if anything's going to be happening prior to the first day of class to allow people access to CourseLink. It's another good question. So I think, Katie, we should follow up on that one and see what we can find out. See if there's going to be any sort of access to CourseLink in advance so that everyone's sort of familiar with what they need to do.
Yep, that sounds good, Kim.
Yeah. So I guess the other thing I wanted to say is there's a lot of faculty who just don't have labs in that first Thursday, Friday. They wait till they have their first lecture, but there will be an announcement in CourseLink. Faculty might even email you in advance to tell you what to expect, because they will have, once you're registered in courses, they will have an email list of the class. Will winter be online as well? We have, at this point in time, we have no information about the delivery for winter. We're hoping some of that's going to become clear to us within the next month or two, but there will be announcements once we know more. Why is the Chem 1040 lecture remote? So there's a lot of students in Chem 1040. We usually have, so not to make anyone nervous, but we're expecting probably 1,800 students in that course, which is normal every year. We usually have 5 or 6 different lecture options in very large rooms when we are delivering in physical rooms. Because this is very different, they felt that this was probably a better way to do it. Having it synchronous, 1,800 students on one lecture and live streaming just probably isn't going to work. So it was felt that they could do a good job of it this way and focus the face-to-face, I guess, online in the lab component. Okay, so some senior students said that we can hold courses, and when registration happens, we can just submit the courses. So that's the pre-selection. Katie, you probably know more about that than I do.
What was that, Kim?
So about pre-selecting the courses, so like holding courses, and then when registration happens, it just registers. Do you remember how that works? Can you explain it?
Yeah. So when you select a course, from what I remember, and I haven't had student access in a few years now, but
oh, you're a little bit choppy.
I think that you have 3 options. I think that there should be 2 options in a drop-down menu. When you choose a course, it should be select and register. So select is going to be the one that will queue it up. So it'll all just sit on a page. You won't be registered for it, but you can select all the sections that you want. And then when your registration window opens, you can hit register. Now, like Kim said before, if one of those is in conflict, and I'm not sure if it blocks you from registering if it's full, but then they all won't work. So that's just something to be aware of.
Okay. It might actually be in the tutorial as well. So I recommend, watching the Web Advisor tutorial, and we'll see if I would think that it covers it there. How do you book an appointment? So, Katie, I'm just going to let you respond to that one with the link.
Yep, I'll copy the link in there.
Okay. Well, we'll publish that one. What will labs look like if they are all online? I think it's going to vary from course to course. Some of them are going to have demos. So we may have, and I know for sure for some of the upper year courses, and I'm going to suspect that chemistry is going to have demos as well, but and physics. So you may actually see somebody in a live demonstration in the lab conducting an experiment. So I'm not sure what chemistry and physics doing specifically, but I would suspect that that's what they're going to do. I do know that in some of our engineering labs, that is what's going to happen, is that a technician is going to be there talking through the process and doing a demonstration. Sometimes it may be interactive, where they might be asking questions for the students to say, well, what do I do next, sort of thing, and have some discussion around that as well. So the PowerPoint question, we are going, as we said before, we're going to post it on the first year page in engineering. And you can get to that page through the registration guide, the new student registration guide. Also, if you email us, we'll send it to you in PDF format. Okay. Well, I'm seeing the, I think maybe I'm just, will some classes be recorded? I'm going to say yes, but not necessarily all. It really is an instructor decision. So I do know that some instructors across campus are intending to record their lectures and post them on the CourseLink site. If you're an international student and you're concerned about time delay, or if you're concerned about just time zones in general, I would encourage you to reach out to the faculty member, to your instructor, and explain your situation and see you know, how they're going to deal with that situation. Like, it's not a it really is a course by course decision. Okay, so Katie, if you could, there's a question here, if it's possible to get the link to the website where we have the laptop. Maybe if you could publish that and just put the link into the first year site, then everybody can see it. That would be great.
No problem.
Or make an announcement at the bottom there. I think there's an announcement button. Here's a question, are we allowed to change majors after the first year, and what is the process? So yes, you can change your engineering major really at any time, during the first year, and you can just contact our office, and we'll book an appointment with you, and we'll go through the implications of doing that and help you fill in the forms. So for those who are accepted into the co-op option of your major, be aware that if you change majors, it doesn't guarantee co-op in the major that you change to. So there is a limit on the number of co-op spaces. So if you change your major, co-op might not follow you. You might, if you really want to change your major, you may end up with just a regular instead of a co-op if the space is not available. And in that case, you would have to wait until the first year review at the end of first year to make sure you're still eligible for co-op. Undeclared students can apply for co-op at the end of the second semester. So there is a deadline day, and if you're interested in that information, you should go to the co-op website to find that information, or contact the co-op office. So there's another question about recording lectures. Again, that'll be course by course. What is the difference between seminars and lectures? That's a really great question, because I don't know if I even really know the difference between a seminar and a lecture. So a seminar implies direct instruction in a lecture style format, but in smaller groups. So you may actually have a really large class, and then you have the seminars that are broken out into the sections. So you have fewer people, so there's a little more focus involved in the seminar. So there are labs and seminars. Sometimes we call seminars tutorials. Sometimes seminars are scheduled as lectures, and it generally means they're just smaller. It's a smaller group, more focused. So there's more interaction with the instructor. Does the availability capacity in WebAdvisor mean anything currently? And also, okay, so when you see available, so in WebAdvisor, the squares are for the sections are either white or pink. And if they're pink, that means they're full. You'll see 0 availability out of, I don't know, 34 or something like that in the section, whatever the capacity is for the section. If it's white, whatever the number is, if it says, 5 available out of 20, that means there's still 5 spaces available in there. It doesn't mean 5 are gone, it means 5 are still available. I'm not sure if I understand the rest of that question. Is following the MEC-Eng schedule in this live meeting accurate? I might need a little more clarification on that question. I'm not sure how to answer it. And so another question on recording. Will we have access to the computer labs if we are on campus? My understanding of that right now is no. Unless it's a scheduled face-to-face lab, the rooms will not be accessible to students at this time. If that changes, that might change as the semester progresses, but right now the answer to that is no. So the computers that currently exist in our labs are going to be available remotely. So there is something called the remote computer lab, and you will learn more about that once the semester gets going, that you can log in and actually access a computer through your computer at home, but you're actually accessing the computer that's in our lab, running the software on that computer. And the reason that's being made available is not everybody's going to have the computing power on their laptops at home or their machines at home that our computers in our labs have. So even though you can physically see computers through the windows and somebody might not be sitting at it, it might actually be being accessed by somebody from home. So those rooms are only going to be accessed if there's a face-to-face component, or if there's some other reason, some other approval for it. If our program includes co-op, does it affect our course selection and how many courses we take each semester? No, it does not. It's just your sequence is going to be a little bit different than the regular stream of engineering. I encourage everyone to go to the calendar and look at your schedule of studies in the academic calendar to see how it flows. And you can, if you're in co-op, take a look at your co-op and then compare it to the regular, and then you'll see, oh, okay, it's basically the same. It's just in a slightly different order. Will attendance be taken for synchronous courses? My understanding is no. I don't think it's even possible. We don't take attendance. It's your choice to attend class. The learning responsibility is on the student. So if you come to class or you don't come to class, no one is taking attendance. So if you're not in the co-op program, if you're in the regular stream, yes, you can apply for co-op at the end of the second semester. There is a deadline at the end of the second term, and that's available on the co-op site, the co-op website, or you can email them and ask them what that deadline date is. I don't know what off the top of my head. Much of this information is going to be, all the co-op information is going to be presented at our program information session for orientation week. So there will be more information coming at orientation. I'm getting a lot more questions that aren't related to course selection, but that's okay. All right, I think I'm at the bottom of the question list. Let's see. I'm going to take a look at that.
I'm still working on catching up to you, Kim.
Yeah, I've been kind of flying through them here, but well, if anybody wants to sit and take a look at the published questions, Katie she's working through them. I guess I can talk faster than she can type.
Yes, most definitely.
We still have 29 attendees. If anyone still has questions, or if you just want to sit and wait to see the published answers, maybe what let's see if I can, I'm going to play around a little bit here and see if I can publish a couple of those links that people were asking for.